Now today I'm going to bring in that F-150. I've got one more mod that I need to install in it. You're going to like it. Well, you know all those current model pickups that have their backup cameras built into their tailgates? Well, what about older trucks like my daily driver, the 2005 F-150? Well, I found an aftermarket tailgate handle for it on Amazon, and it's just plug and play, along with a bunch of wiring, of course. Now I'm going to show you how to make that upgrade on your own. Well, let me get that F-150 in here so I can give it some new eyes. I've been test driving a lot of newer vehicles lately, especially the latest pickup trucks. One of the things that I really like about them is that they have backup cameras mounted right here in the tailgate handle. It's the perfect place for it. Now my 2005 F-150, it's about 13 years old now. It doesn't have a backup camera because that tech didn't exist back then. It wasn't an option from the OEMs. Now I lifted it up 6 inches and it's rolling on 35, so it's pretty high. And when I'm backing up, it's hard to see what's behind me, especially at night. Now I've always wanted to get a backup camera for it, but I didn't like a whole lot of the aftermarket options that were available out there. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Now you got two options when it comes to using a backup camera down in this area of your vehicle. The popular choice is the license plate frame backup camera. It looks just like this one here, but it's got a camera mounted right up at the top. It's got all the wiring and everything built right in, it's plug and play. It's a good solution. Now the other option that I did a few years back is I got one of those round cameras and I put it right here. Now, I stopped using it after a while, and here's why. By law, your license plate has to be illuminated at night. And so what happens is these two lights here come on to shine on your license plate. That's good for your license plate, but horrible for your cameras because it just completely blows them out, rendering them useless. So guys, it's not an option down here. So I started wondering if there's an aftermarket solution for guys like me that want to put a backup camera right into their tailgate handle. So I did some searching around, and this is what I found at Amazon for under $100. It's a replacement tailgate handle for the truck that's got a camera built right into it. So what's the catch? Well, you've got to have an upgraded aftermarket head unit like my Alpine IVA W505 that I installed on the show like, I don't know, 8 years ago. Check it out. The other option is to get an aftermarket rear view mirror that's got a small little display built right into it. That's another popular choice as well. So once you've got that covered, the only thing left to do is to replace the tailgate handle and do a bunch of wiring. I'm going to show you how to do it. By the way, if you're wondering why most new vehicles sold these days have backup cameras as a standard feature, it's because as of May of this year, 2018, it is required by law for them to have them in the US and Canada. Now you're going to need a Torx T30 driver or bit like this one, and then you're going to need to remove the 8 fasteners. Now if you've got something covering it like I do with this bed rug, you're going to need to remove that first. After removing that panel, you've got two 10mm nuts that you've got to remove here and here. Now with those two nuts loose, this will be free, so just get in there from the back side, wiggle the handle a little bit until it pops out. Now I've got the old handle removed, I've got to transplant the lock from this one to the new one. And for that, all you're going to need is a flat blade screwdriver. Come on. There we go. Boom. So before I scratch it anymore, I'm going to protect the wrap. There, that ought to do it. Now you can install the new tailgate handle, just make sure the wiring goes up inside, and you want to do it top first. Okay, there's the wiring, and replace the 10mm. Now you want to tighten these down loosely because before you tighten them all the way down, you want to lift up your tailgate a little bit to make sure that your handle is positioned correctly. Okay, the tailgate handle is still a little bit loose, which means I can take off the tape now. There we go. I'm going to climb up in here like a monkey and tighten it down. Maybe a little bit higher. Right there. So now I've got this one cable coming out of my tailgate. Now what do I do next? Well, I've got to route it through my tailgate, pop it out down there, route it along the frame into the cab of the truck. At the other end is this guy, an RCA video signal. I'm going to plug this into the back of my head unit where it says camera in. Now this is where it gets scary for a lot of people because it involves the dreaded wiring. Now there's two wires that you have to hook up, only two, a negative and a positive. The negative is actually part of these two guys, and I'm going to hook it up down here. The positive is here and here, which gets confusing at both ends. We only have to hook up one of them. In this particular situation, they give you the option of doing either one, in the back or the front. In the back, you'd hook it up to a backup light. In the front, you'd hook it up to a reverse signal wire. Now in the case of this 2005 F-150, which is also going to apply to all 2004 to 2008, it's a lot easier to hook it up in the cab. Now this guy gets hooked up to that wire, and then there's another wire that comes off the back of my head unit that tells my head unit to switch the video to the backup camera. Now, the reason why it's done this way is because you want it to come on automatically when you put your transmission in reverse. So it does two things when you put your transmission in reverse. It sends power to the backup camera, telling it to come on because you don't want that camera on all the time. And it sends a signal to your head unit, telling it to switch the display to the backup camera so that you can see where you're backing up. So let me show you how this is all done. Now, as I just mentioned, I got to route this cable along the inside and pop it out down here so I can go straight down to the frame. Now on the back side here, there are two holes. I need to get this cable through there. This is where it gets tricky, but here is a trick to show you how to do it. Now there's three tools that I recommend for routing wires around your vehicle, like your tailgate. Two of them are right here. One is an old antenna from my F-150. The other is a pickup tool from Craftsman. And the third, which I do recommend, is a coat hanger, just because it's more bendable. And that's what I'm going to actually use. This method that I used right here didn't work out so well, so I pulled that back out and ended up using a coat hanger. Now in areas like this where there's sheet metal and your wire, make sure you protect it with some wire loom or just put some electrical tape around there. Best thing to use is some wire loom, and this kit included some, which makes it a lot easier. Now I'll save you guys the agony of having to watch me roll around on the ground for about a half an hour as I route the wires along the inside of the frame, and then it pops out on the outside of the frame right there and then up into the cab. All right, I'm up inside my vehicle. I've got my Alpine right here. I need to get to the back of it, but in order to get it out, I've got to pop off this center part of the dash. Fortunately for me, I've done this probably 100 times over the years, so it just pops right out. If you haven't done it, you might have to get in there with a plastic pry tool. Sometimes it helps to open up the ashtray at the bottom, the cup holder. And then here it comes. Blah! It's like my dash just threw up. I've added this red wire for the backup or reverse signal. It goes behind the glove box down to the passenger side kick panel where that fuse box is. Now right above all the fuses is a wiring harness. It's that first wire on the right hand side, this guy. That's the one you want to tap into with a posi tap or something else. So one of the things I need to do is I need to connect that RCA cable that came from the back. That is for the backup camera video signal, and I'm plugging this into the camera in the back of my Alpine. So it's these three wires that need to be connected together. Signal from the fuse panel that tells the camera to turn on and tells the Alpine that it is time to go to the camera. Now one other thing I wanted to mention about my Alpine head unit, and this might be the same for yours as well, is that under setup, system setup, there's this option for camera in. It can be on or off. I'm leaving mine off because it really doesn't matter. It's going to get that signal from the vehicle to engage the camera and turn it on, and I'll show you right now when I put it in reverse. There it is.